Hi, this is Romy Miller with the Sunday Post again, and we're going to talk about Palm Sunday this week, which is a prelude to Easter. And Easter has nothing to do with the Bible, with Jesus, with the cross, with God, with salvation, or anything. Easter is a derivative of a German word for a month of the year, and it pertains to a myth about a goddess that came to earth in an egg, which is where we get Easter eggs. The devil's had a heyday in corrupting our most important holiday ever, which is Resurrection Sunday, as I call it, not Easter. Resurrection Sunday, what I'm going to call it here. Jesus rode into town, into Jerusalem, that Sunday morning on mules, colt, which was prophesied by Zechariah 9:9, I believe, if I've got that right. I'll put it down below anyway. And he came in from the Mount of Olives through another town and then into, I won't try to pronounce the other town, into Jerusalem for two reasons. One is because the prophecies in the Old Testament said that the king that was going to be saving them would come from Mount of Olives, which he did. That's where he started from. He went through the other town and then came into Jerusalem because that's the other town was where they got the sacrificial goat for Passover. And so he was, this time was not only the saving king, the triumphant king, but he was also the sacrificial goat, lamb, excuse me, not goat. He was a sacrificial lamb. And he was triumphant as king precisely because he was also the sacrifice. He was sacrificing for you, for me, for everybody else in the world who will accept it. If somebody tells you that, oh, God's a loving God and he's a gracious God and he doesn't want anyone to go to hell, so he's going to save everybody, wrong. It doesn't work. Paul tells us that salvation is a free gift of God to those who will accept it. If you have a birthday or it's Christmas and somebody brings you a gift to give to you and you don't accept it, you refuse the gift, then you don't have it. It doesn't apply to you, it doesn't do you any benefit, it doesn't help you one way or another. You never even know what it was because it wasn't opened. It's the same way with God's gift of salvation. If you don't accept it, you don't have it. So Jesus was coming into town that Sunday morning to tell everybody who he was, why he was there, what he was going to do the next week, why he was going to do it, and how he was going to do it. All that is wrapped up in this 1 week. And Passover the next week, when he was crucified and resurrected again, it commemorates by the Jews, use that to commemorate when God's angel passed over all the homes in Egypt that had the blood of the sacrificial lamb splattered on the vertical and the horizontal doorposts. And when he came to take the firstborn of all the people in Egypt, including the Pharaoh's son, he passed over the Jews that had the blood on the doorposts. So they commemorated it ever since, and God said that would be a memorandum to them forever, a memorial to them forever. They should practice this every year. And Jesus was telling them on that day that he was going to be the ultimate Passover. He was not only the king that was coming to them, but he was also the sacrificial lamb, and he would provide God's providence, propitation, and his grace, saving grace to everyone. He would offer it to everyone in the world. But it only applied to the people that accepted it, and we'll get into that too next week. So, if you have faith and you believe in Jesus and what he did on the cross, and he did it for you and for everyone else, and you're saved from eternal damnation by the work he did on the cross, then it applies to you. Otherwise it doesn't. So that was the whole point of Passover, was to tell, That was the whole point of Palm Sunday, was Jesus is coming to town and telling everybody, this is who I am, this is what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen. And if you believe on me and believe on the work I'm going to do next week, then you will be saved. So it was a prelude, as we say, in something like a short clips they see in the movies or on TV. You know, coming next week, you know, at 9 Central, you know, or whatever, is such and such a program that's going to be about this and that and something else. Same thing, that's the same. In the New Testament, John the Baptist came as a forerunner of Christ to tell everybody he was coming and what, you know, who to look for and what was going to happen. That was his job. And once Jesus showed up and started his ministry, John's work was over with. He completed what God had him to do. And it's the same here. It's the whole same point. This is what Jesus was telling them was going to happen the next week. That's the whole point of Palm Sunday. And it's interesting that people were going to come in and say, Hosanna to the highest, and praising Jesus. And that's Hosanna is a word of adoration. And the same people that were praising him and putting down palm branches in front of him were the people that were going to say, crucify him the next week. They completely changed their 180 degrees out of phase from what they were the week before. But that was necessary. It was God's work again. That's the reason why Jesus came into the world, was to go to the cross for you and for me and for everyone else, if we accept what he did, work he did. And that's a short video for this week. It doesn't take much to just explain that much. We could get into a lot of technical difficulties and problems and debate the theology of it and the history and so on and so forth, the language. But that doesn't really do any good for you, because it doesn't tell you what Jesus was doing for you. And that's what I tried to do here, and it doesn't take much. He was just going to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do next week, and this is what you need to do about it. So next week we're going to have a lot longer video. I was going to split it into 2 weeks, and I decided no, that you have a tendency, I do anyway, probably other people do too, have a tendency to forget what was said from 1 week to the next. And you tie the two together would be difficult. I decided, okay, I'll just work all this week on the video, try to make a better one. I'm still learning how to do videos. So I hope bear with me for a while as I stumble through these things. I'll get better every week, I hope. I better get better every week. And I'll go point by point, so I may have to use notes so that I don't want to get off on a tangent or forget something. So just kind of bear with me and give me a little latitude, and we'll get through that one too. And in the meantime, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and we'll talk to you next week.